Good morning, good evening, and good night to the various peoples of the world. Today we'll be doing a top 10 of first robotics games. Number 10 on our list is Recycled Rush. This game didn't have a lot of bumper-to-bumper action. In fact, it was illegal to contact another bumper, which I think makes for a not very fun to watch game. The stacking was interesting, but it wasn't very good, and it was a pretty terrible viewing experience. Number 9, Keep Space. This game has an interesting beginning where the drivers are blinded for the first part of the match. Some of the methods for getting points were interesting, such as locking balls into towers with the hatch panels, and it made an interesting pick and place game. It wasn't bad, wasn't good. Number 8, Power Up. The balancings were an interesting concept for acquiring points, and I do think it was put into great execution, with points for weighing your side down the most. Power-ups were an interesting X factor on each game. They could make or break every game for you. Number 7, Crescendo. It was a very fast shooting game with a lot of defensive options, but the core of the game isn't very fleshed out, with many odd mechanics, and the climb and end game is very basic. It definitely is a perfect game for a rookie team just starting out with how easy of a game it is to understand. At higher levels, there's still plenty of strategy, and my favorite part of it was definitely just the amount of defense that could happen as you're crossing the field to cycle notes. Number 6, Steamworks. This game had the best climb of all time in my opinion. You had a small string to climb on. This resulted in very interesting methods of robots climbing these strings. The bucket in the middle was an absolutely amazing place for the human player to be able to sit on the center of the field and see exactly what's going on. It's great for maintenance on the robot, because they're able to almost watch the robot the entire time from a pretty good vantage point that's close to the field. It allows them to really pick up on what might have gone wrong, where it went wrong, how to improve for the drivers. It was also a very high-scoring game that was good for teams at a higher level of competition who could specialize in one factor of the game. There's a robot this year that I really liked that only scored using gears, and like the balls were a secondary to them. Number 5, Rapid React. This game is a very complex field and a very exciting climb where you had to almost monkey bar yourself up these inclined monkey bar-like structure. It was a very fun climb in my opinion. There was this one robot from that year that jumped to climb. That was a fun robot to watch. The field geometry was incredible with a massive central scoring structure. I think that makes for a very interesting game and just a lot of interesting strategy that can happen around this central scoring structure. Number 4, Infinite Recharge. This is a game I think would have been an awesome game to play if COVID didn't happen. There was plenty of opportunity for high-scoring games with, I guess, the methods of scoring you could get. You could get a robot that could absolutely go crazy in this game if this game were allowed to continue and COVID had not happened. This game definitely could have had a lot of defensive strategy. The climb was interesting where you had to balance with your friends. I think this would have been a great game to watch. Number 3, Reefscape. I may be a bit biased on this game towards the other, rather than the other ones, because it was my rookie year game. I think it's the perfect example of how high-scoring games can get, because it came down to algae to make the difference between who won and who lost the match. People ran out of coral to actually score at the higher levels of competition. But the lower levels were able to be dominated by coral. So you really got to see how both of these game pieces could be used to win a match. I also think the climb was very interesting, and I had a lot of fun like making this climb happen in matches. You had to like drive up to the side of this box thing on that was just hanging, and you had to somehow grab onto it and pull yourself up. It was only like 3 inches off the ground. Overall, I think this was a solid game. Number 2, Rebuild. This game is the newest one. It hasn't quite finished, but there's been some high-scoring games at lower levels, between 200 and 400 point games on average. When you reach the higher levels, you're going to see 500 to 900 point games. And I think those are going to be fun to watch, just to see how many balls these robots can pump through their robots as fast as they are. I'm hoping that we might be able to see a 1,000 point match at some point. I don't think any robotics competition game has ever reached 1,000 points, and I think this year it might be possible. This game has a lot of odd geometry, such as the bumps to stop teams from flying across the map, and promoting an actually slower game. I think if they didn't have the bumps, this game, we would have already seen higher scoring games than we have. The bumps really slow down the teams, which results in less high power collisions that will break robots, but it also means that you don't have as fast of a scoring game, which I think is a little bit of a con, but I don't think it does much to really ruin how good of a game this is.
Count it down with me. 3, 2, 1, charge!
Number 1, Stronghold. This is the best FRC game ever because the amount of potential strategy that you could have going into it. On the field, there are 5 different obstacles. These obstacles were voted on by the audience. This resulted in many different variations of the same field. It was a game where navigating these effectively random obstacles resulted in points, meaning you couldn't plan for one specific field obstacle. You had to plan for multiple. If you love strategy, this is definitely the game for you. This game also results in a lot of defense, which is my favorite part of FRC. With robots racing across the field to score points, you had a lot of collisions right in the middle of the field between the 2 sets of obstacles. You also had the obstacles they would either hinder you in you trying to get around a defensive robot, or they're going to allow you to score points while you're cycling across the map, and maybe even evade getting defended by a robot, or an opposing robot. That is why I think that this is the best FRC game of all time.